So my talk today is called the growth mindset. How to have a growing mindset. I think in all of our houses we have something called a living room, but we spend a lot of our time in the living room on our cell phones, doing a bunch of things that are not productive. And so it kind of turns into like a dining room. I don't know if it's really a living room. And I have this theory, not just me, but many people, that we are only happy when we are doing one thing in life, and that's growing. If we're not growing in life, then we're not happy. And I'll talk about that in a lot of detail. Just like if you go to a gym, does anyone here go to gyms sometimes? Yeah, they say the hardest thing about the gym is actually getting to the gym. Once you're there, it's all good. But to get in that car and finally be there is difficult. And then you work out, you exercise, you do all these things, and at the end, you're like really happy. You feel good, like deep down. And then the next day, you're just completely sore. You can't even move, you can't even pick up anything. You're just totally done for. But still, deep down within, you're really happy. Why are you happy? Because you know that your body is growing, your muscles are growing. And so that's where that happiness and satisfaction comes from. And even if you analyze your body, if you cut your hair, then your hair grows. I know because I got hair now. I'm like a monk with hair. And if you cut your nail, your nails will grow. And if you tear your skin, then your skin will repair. So it seems like it's natural for us to constantly grow in life. But we have so many distractions of the day that steal our focus away. And so we just gotta bring it back. For those who watch basketball, there is something called the triangle offense. So we also have a triangle offense when it comes to spirituality that we have to attack. And that's the body, the mind, and the soul. So we talked about the body, how we have to exercise the body. We gotta provide it the right nutrients, and then your body will grow, and you feel happy, you feel satisfied. And then the next level is the mind. So how do you grow the mind? Well, when you gain knowledge or wisdom, you feel this inner sense of happiness. When you go to places and you travel, you see different experiences, you feel happy. These types of things give a lot of satisfaction. So we understand the body, we understand the mind, but a lot of times we don't talk about the soul. Like, how do you grow the soul? And that's something that we should talk about. I gave a presentation here maybe a few months ago, and I showed this picture. It was this old lady, and she was polishing this bird cage. And the bird cage looked really shiny, it was glistening, you would think it had like some bling bling on it, and yeah, it just looked like a really cool bird cage. But there was a bird inside, and the bird inside was dying. The bird looked like it needed some nourishment. And this is an analogy to life, that we often take care of so much of the physical body that we don't actually feed that bird that's inside. We don't nourish that bird. So why is it important to grow the soul? I mean, there's so many things in this world we try to grow. We try to grow our bank account, but our bank account will come and go. We try to grow followers, but our followers will also come and go. But our soul is eternal, so that should be the real goal. And this next aspect is a little technical, but I'll try to explain it the best way I can. So you have the body, you have the mind, and you have the soul. And the higher you go, the more happiness you feel. For example, you work out your body, you exercise your body, you actually become a bodybuilder. And okay, you're happy. But I know some bodybuilders who are still depressed mentally. So it seems like there's something more that needs to be accomplished. So then you work out the mind. You do a bunch of mental exercises, breathing practices, you gain knowledge, you now gain more satisfaction, more happiness. But if you want the highest happiness, the thing that completes it all, that's when you focus on the soul element. So there's different ways to grow the soul, and we try to grow the soul because that's who we really are. Actually, they say that we don't even have a soul. We are the soul, and we have a body. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience. So this kind of understanding flips the game. And so to have success in this spiritual growth of growing the soul, if you look at the word success, there's 3 S's. S-U-C-C-E-S-S. Did I spell that right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. So what are those 3 S's to success? First, it starts with Sangha. These are Sanskrit words, and I'll explain what they mean. Sangha means your spiritual environment, your spiritual community. Because the soul does not want to be alone. It wants to meet with other souls. Souls that are into self-improvement, self-development, higher consciousness, wanting to do great things in this world. If you meet with these types of individuals, then your soul feels a lot of satisfaction and nourishment. And then you're in the right environment. Actually, if you break down this word environment, it comes from the root environ. And environ means to circle or to enclose. And then if you break down the word environ, it comes from the word veer, which means to shift or to change direction. Just like if you veer off on the freeway. So literally, the word environment is telling us that it can shift or change our direction in life. And you see that when you get into the right circle, then you get the right results. So that's why all the yoga texts, all the spiritual literatures, they say the first step to spiritual life is to find that circle, find that environment, and then you'll see a lot of magic happen. And that's one of the reasons why we create Mantra House and a lot of these other programs, because we're looking for these conscious individuals who want to do great things in life. And when we come together, we can do a lot of great things in life. And then the next S is called sadhana. And that's spiritual practice. When you actually have some type of tangible practice that you can do every single day. Like for me, my spiritual practice that I have to do every day is a morning walk. I usually leave around 5:30 a.m. and I walk for like an hour and a half. And if I miss a day, my whole day is off. So I have that as my regimen, as my discipline. And I don't try to skip out on it, because the mind needs to be controlled, and it becomes controlled through this spiritual practice, sadhana. So that's very important. And we also do other types of spiritual practices that help. So after a little while, you guys got a little preview, but we'll do some chanting. Chanting is also a way that can really help the mind focus and relax. So that's also very positive. And then finally, the last S to the pillar is something called seva. And seva means spiritual service, devotional service. You want to now give back. You want to help the community. You want to do something that inspires others, and you want to lend a hand. They say that if you want to be handsome, then give your hand to some. And it becomes very impactful. I can shout out one of my good friends. He's here today. His name is Jason. And you want to raise your hand real quick? Yeah, throw up a peace sign or something. Yeah. So I met Jason a few years ago at a college. I go to different colleges and I try to hand out meditation books because they don't really teach this knowledge in college. So we feel like this is a way where we can infiltrate the system. So we meet tons of people. And I had a book table set up, and Jason just came right up to me on a skateboard, really excited. We kicked it off, everything went good, I got him a few books. And then I see him a year later at the same school. And at that time I had like some neck beads on me. So he got some neck beads, and we just kicked it off again. And after a few months, we finally launched this program called the USC Music Meditation Club. And Jason was one of the first people to be on board and come to all the events. And out of nowhere, he just started filming and shooting everything. And no one asked him to do this. He was editing, chopping. We understand this takes a lot of work. And that's devotional service. When you do something out of love, and you do it not wanting anything in return, and it's for a greater good. It's to spread higher consciousness. And you feel a lot of fulfillment. They say that at the end of your life, you'll only own what you donated. So it's very important to give as much as possible. And through service, we can achieve that. So these are the 3 S's: Sangha, Sadhana, and Seva. And this will really enhance a growth mindset. And if we have a growth mindset, then we can do wonders in this world. But there's also another type of mindset that can hinder our progress. And that's what you call a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset basically believes that whatever talents and skills somebody has, they feel that these people are born with that talent, and I can never achieve that talent. I can never achieve that skill. It's something sent down from the heavens to them, and I'll never have something like that. So they limit themselves. They fix themselves. And I used to think like this too. But then I learned about the growth mindset. And I learned that we should never consider ourselves as a complete product, but we should always consider ourselves as a work in progress. That we can always change, we can always put in effort, and we can always practice to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. Like for me, I was into books, and I would see all these novels at bookstores, 250 pages, 300 pages, and deep down I had a desire to write a book. But I felt that I can never do this. This is like some serious stuff to write a book. But just a few months ago, I was like, you know what, let me just give this a shot. So I started writing like a few sentences a day, few paragraphs a day, just a little bit. And after 2 or 3 months, I checked the word count, because you can see how many words you wrote, and it's already up to 30,000 words. And they say it takes 50,000 words to write a complete novel. So I was just amazed that just by doing a little bit of effort each day, how much it is that you can achieve. And actually now, I'm writing 4 books. I have 3 other books on the side, and I've started on all these projects. So this is something that comes from the growth mindset. Even singing, I thought that people who sing very beautifully, that's something they were born with, and that's not something we can learn. But it's not true. I started doing these vocal warm-ups every single day, and I'm still not ready yet to rock the mic, but one day I'm definitely gonna rock the mic. So it's really powerful. Just just having this growth mentality, you can really do wonders. There's actually a really amazing teacher who understands the growth mindset and also understands spirituality. He's a teacher in Chicago. You guys are gonna love this. So when you do good in school, you usually get an A or a B on a test. And if you do poorly on a test, then you get a C, D, or F. And nowadays, society has shifted. So when someone gets a C, D, or F, they don't say to themselves that I failed, but they say to themselves, I'm a failure. And so they identify with that grade, and they feel a lot of depression. They feel that this grade is who I am. So this teacher picked up on that. And what he decided to do, when somebody does good on a test, he will give them the A or B. But if someone does poorly and gets a C, D, or F, he doesn't write C, D, or F. He writes not yet. He writes not yet on the test. And then the student receives the test, it says not yet, and it makes him inspired and motivated. Like, let me keep trying. Let me put in the effort. Let me keep going. And this is the growth mindset. This is what we need in our lives to achieve big things. It will really do wonders. When I learned about this growth mindset, I was applying it to every aspect of my life as much as possible. I actually went to India about a month or 2 months ago, and before going to India, I had to buy this shirt. It's called a kurta. It's like a monk shirt. Is anyone wearing a kurta in here right now? Okay, just checking. It's pretty cool. You guys should definitely get one. We have a gift shop just to the left of us, and yeah. So I went to the gift shop. I got my kurta. I paid for the kurta, and the cash register lady, we actually call her Mataji. Mataji just means mother, and that's how we refer to all women as much as possible. We try to see in that light. So I said, so the Mataji, she was folding up the shirt, and I know how to fold clothes, like, pretty good. I mean, I can do it like Target style, but maybe not Macy's or Nordstrom style. So this Mataji started folding my shirt in like a Macy's Nordstrom fashion. And I'm like, wait, can you do that again? And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, can you just like untie that and do that one more time? She kind of like was puzzled. She was like, okay. And so she started doing it again. I'm like, wait, can you like slow-mo that? Like, I need to see that really closely. And I told her, like, I'm trying to learn how you folded that shirt like that. And so we just bonded. She taught me how to tie the shirt. Now I know how to fold the shirt really well. And that's growth mindset. The world becomes your playground, because you know that there's nothing that can limit you. There's nothing that can stop you. You can take anything in this world and you can build on it. You can grow on it. And that's the magical power of the growth mindset. And when you grow yourself, the next step is that you want to grow others, because that's where your true fulfillment, that's where your true happiness comes from. Like, I'm trying to empower some of the females of our team to try to give classes here at Mantra House. So I texted two of them. I texted Allison and Priya. I'm like, look, you guys got to start practicing for your classes. We want to see you speak here. And they both texted back. And then Priya, she texted back and she said, yes, practicing. And then she said something. She said, thank you for your encouragement. And I was thinking about this word, encouragement. And the word encouragement just means to put courage in somebody. And when we are fearless ourselves, when we have that encouragement built up inside of us, then we can do that for others. And so this is my last point, and this is kind of like a revelation that I had like this last week. You guys want to hear it? Yeah, okay. So if you want to grow something, you gotta use water. If you want to grow a plant, you want to grow a tree, you want to grow this body, it needs water. So we have to become like water in order to grow others. We have to be clear, we have to be transparent, and we have to be pure. And if we have these qualities, then we can grow others exponentially, exponential amounts. But if we're impure, if our consciousness is not so great, and then we try to help others, it will not take as much effect. That's why they say we first have to start with helping ourselves, and then we can help others around us. Then we can appreciate others around us. They say that that person who appreciates others the most, he becomes the most appreciated. And if you break down this word appreciate, it comes from the word pretium. And pretium means value. It means rich. So literally, if you see the richness in others, then you actually become the richest. And that is the growth mindset. So when we have this type of determination, this type of consciousness, ultimately we will grow, we will nourish everything around us, and everything can flourish through this growth mindset. And when we start waking this up more and more, we start to have more gratitude. We become more grateful. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you become more grateful? I said, well, you got to get out of the gray and enter into the color. To me, gray is technology, it's buildings, etc. But the color is this. This is full of color. This is full of light. Nature is full of color. And when we become more grateful, then ultimately we grow our love for the divine, for the supreme. And we feel so much gratitude because it's the source of all growth. And so this is a real powerful way to completely nourish ourselves. So now, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I ask myself is, how will I grow today? And when I go to sleep at night, the last thing I say to myself is, how did I grow today? And this is how I live my life. And this is how we should live our life. It becomes magical. The world becomes a playground. So just to recap, I spoke about how happiness comes from growth. And the more we grow our body, we become happy. But even better than that is when we grow our mind and practice discipline, meditation, breathing, etc. But even happier, and what's going to completely nourish us, is when we grow the soul. Because we're spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual experience. And so to grow the soul, there's those 3 S's. This is like a pop quiz now. Who remembers the 3 S's?
Sangha.
Sangha, okay, we got 1. Sadhana.
Seva.
Seva. Okay, and what does Sangha mean?
Success.
Success is the complete total of those 3.
It's like the spiritual environment, right?
Yeah, spiritual environment is Sangha. What about sadhana? Practice, that's right. And what about seva?
Service.
Service. Wow, you guys all get A's. You don't get not yet. You completed it. It's amazing. And so then we got to transition ourselves from that fixed mindset to the growth mindset. Let's learn to appreciate others, see the richness in others. If we see the richness in others, we become the richest. And then with that type of wealth, we can really help shine the world. And encouragement is needed, growth is needed. Let's flow like water. Let's become clear, transparent, pure. And in this way, we will nourish ourselves, we will grow ourselves, we will grow love for the divine, and we'll be completely happy and satisfied. Thank you very much.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, I should, huh? I think I got like 4 or 5 minutes. if anybody wants to say anything, you can. If not, you can come meet me after as well and ask a question. But does anybody have anything they want to say?
How do you keep, especially when you're starting, I guess, like if you're a beginner and into practicing these 3 S's, how do you stay above water when, everything seems to be going horrible and you don't have yet that growth mindset? So how do you basically transition into thinking, okay, this worst case scenario, like, I don't know, like you lost your job or something, and like, okay, there's going to be something good that comes from it when, a lot of bad stuff can be happening.
I think just plugging into those 3 S's really help, because let's say you did lose your job. I mean, what good is it gonna do if we're all alone, or if we're contemplating deeply? But if we're around uplifting people who can uplift us, the Sangha, then right away we feel better. And then the practice also helps with just understanding the situation. A lot of times, if you analyze your life, bad things happen to us. But then when you look back at it, maybe a year later, months later, you're actually like, wow, I'm so happy that happened. So we can't see the full picture. But when we do see that full picture, we're actually very thankful. So just having that type of Sangha really helps. Like I feel fortunate because I have different mentors and role models, and those that have lived a monk life for many years, so we can turn to them. And we're building that type of community here, that type of Sangha here. So when people do have some stress or problems, they can come, they can unplug and get some solutions. Yeah, so I think it's just plugging in. Yeah. This is like silent meditation. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so today I was kind of stressed because I feel like I'm always worried about my next goal or my next accomplishment, and I want to know, how do you balance not being so like focused on the future, the goals, but just being okay with who you are in the moment,
I think we should be focused on our future goals. I think it's really important to have that determination and that plan and that agenda of what is it that we want to accomplish in life. I think it's actually a healthy thing. I feel that not enough people do that these days. But like you were saying, also being in the moment, that really comes from just having certain reminders and triggers throughout the day that bring us back to that essence. Like, I'll speak very practical. What I do on my phone, this phone can either be your greatest savior, or it can be your deadliest destruction. So I think having these reminders throughout the day will truly bring us back to that essence and get us out of the mind. Actually, this is probably going to be my next class, but I'm going to be talking about how the mind is just like an iPhone, because what we have in the mind is, or what we have on the phone, is so many apps. And what happens when you have a lot of apps open? Your phone starts to slow down. Your battery starts to get drained. So then what do? You got to close out those apps, and then your battery can recharge. You can work more efficiently. In the same way, we have to close out all those apps, all those past memories, negative memories, whatever it may be, and then we can flow more efficiently. So just a little analogy, but that's what we gotta do. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for being here. It's truly a pleasure. Hare Krishna.